Has anybody in the audience got a question for Elvis? Gentleman there in that rather attractive check shirt.
Yeah, very recently I read in, I think it was Q, that you'd done a cover of a Prince song, and apparently he objected very strongly about your rendition, and it really upset him. Obviously, I'm assuming that it wasn't a conscious effort, you know, to upset Prince.
No,
but do you
really.
often find that other artists get the needle when you cover their songs, or...?
Hang on, it's a question, not a take over the entire show, but I can see he's better than I am. Yes,
it's actually the
needle.
It's the opposite thing, really. I have this thing called the curse of Costello.
Yes.
That usually when people cover my songs, it's usually the end of their career. You know, they record my song and they're never heard of again. Yeah. It's a terrible thing, and I don't want to worry about having that theme tune. Like
I know,
it can be. It is.
But what about answering the question you were asked?
Oh, that question. Yeah, no, I mean, it's obviously not intentional. With Mr. Whatever his name, Mr. Symbol.
Formerly known as.
Squiggle.
Yes.
And,
well, you could have called yourself the artist formerly known as Declan.
Yes, that would have been good, yeah. What
anyway,
that spell? I can't think. In that case, we did start out to do a cover of one of his songs, but he didn't like the context of it. And you know, I think it's his song. He wrote it that way, and you know, if he hears it that way, fine. I certainly.
And can he stop you going ahead with it?
He can, in the case of this, because it was a sort of what you might call a medley or a collage, a montage, sound montage between my song and his.
Yes.
And I think in that case, it's like if somebody comes. Like, if you would want to put, like, you know, Clive is really great, he's really great now, you know...
You'd object to that as a critic, as to say that...
Yeah, and I think most people probably would.
Thank you. Thank you, Elvis. Good to have you back again. For the last time. Yes, there's an arm up there.
Hi. Elvis, as you mentioned that you worked with Paul McCartney in the Brodsky Quartet, I wondered if you'd ever thought, like Paul McCartney's Symphony, if you wrote a serious piece.
A serious piece, yeah. Other than the jokey one about trampling to death a Prime Minister.
Yeah, well...
Something like that, a symphony or a...
I've written a few songs. I've got one that's coming out this week on a record called...
What a happy coincidence.
What a happy... I can just plug this record too. A group called Fretwork have done a song, among many other songs.
Yes.
The composer Henry Purcell.
Yes.
He died 300 years ago.
Well, still sad.
Yeah, still sad.
Yes,
And
we're recovering from it.
And we're just about getting over it now. And we've written...
Taking the Purcell challenge, and we are, you know...
Well, I'll answer the question. I wrote a piece which I was invited to write for those instruments, and it meant me learning about viols, and this group Fretwork were good enough to record it, and a singer sang the song that I wrote, and you know that's a piece that travels the world without, you know, with no help from me, thanks.
Yes, right at the back there's a hand up.
Is there any artist that you like to collaborate with before you kick your bucket?
Oh, hey, let's keep it nice and happy. Apparently you're just about to kick the bucket,
yes,
and...
is there a curse of Clive? I don't know.
No, it's the kiss of Clive. I'm not promising that.
No. Well, I don't have a magic list, you know. I mean, if something came up, I could, as I said, I couldn't have imagined, you know, out of the people that I listened to and really liked when I was growing up, people I listened to, you know, when I was a teenager and younger even, you know, I've sung with Tony Bennett, I once sang with the Count Basie Orchestra on a charity show. I mean, it's an amazing things that come your way. Not all, they're like the little cherry on the cake. You make the cake and they put the cherry on it. I don't have a magic list of things, oh, I wish I could sing with Aretha Franklin. Maybe she wouldn't like to sing with me.
Well, I don't know. And you actually married a musician as well.
I married a very fine bass player, and Pogue. And,
but you avoided Shane MacGowan, obviously. Just
no, Shane, very fine songwriter.
But not to marry?
Not my type, actually.
No. But so do you make, I don't know how you put this, sweet music with your wife at home?
We have written, we wrote a whole album in a weekend once for a punkette. And she's written some very beautiful songs, and you know, we come up with the odd one. In fact, we wrote one. We were in we got invited to do a song for a film while we were just in New York, and we wrote the song on the way to went out and drove around in the yellow cab until we wrote it, and went to the studio and recorded it that night.
That's a life, isn't it?
I know, that's a life.
Any more questions?
Is it true that your dad starred in the secret lemonade drinker adverts?
Yes, it is true. He didn't star in the visual
Did he write
sense.
it, or
no,
did
he was the voice of it. And
I'm a secret lemonade.
You sure it wasn't you?
No, I'm your dad. Hello, Elvis. Why'd you change your name? I saw it's Declan.
I was always worried about the fact that this program was in the same studio as Surprise, Surprise. Now I know why. You know. My dad, who still sings, and you know, we had his birthday on Monday night. So I'm plugged for Dad, and you know, he used to do. I mean, he sang with the Joe Loss Orchestra for many years, and sang as a solo singer for years after that. And he did do quite a lot of commercials, and in fact, that was my first recording session. I sang backgrounds on that.
Oh, really?
Advert. Yeah, and I'm actually in one edition of the visual of the original 70s advert, which you don't see anymore.
Oh, I think we will. We'll be editing into this programme.
You try finding it.
Yeah. Anyway, it's fantastic for you to join us tonight. Thank you very much, Elvis Costello. OK. Thank you to all my guests tonight. It's me, Clive, saying good night, and take it away, Elvis.
The Pops. Choose Ash. Choose.